Exposed. After 10 years of mockery, wife's transformation revealed AS New York's incredible model. In the heart of Queens, the air buzzed with the aroma of fresh baked bread and sweet pastries wafting from Jessica's beloved bakery. Every day, she greeted her customers with a warm smile, a sharp contrast to the laughter of those who had scoffed at her dreams since she was a girl. They whispered in corners and smirked when she walked past, their words biting. Jessica? A model? Please. But with her 2 children watching, she couldn't let the past chain her down. Every morning, as she kneaded dough, her thoughts traveled back to that fleeting dream of the runway. Her teenage years had been spent grappling with her insecurities, skin too pale, hair too frizzy, the constant reminders that beauty came with a price she couldn't pay. They judged her, a hard-working mother running a bakery, too ordinary to aspire for anything more glamorous. But in her heart, the flicker of hope hadn't completely extinguished. As her kids Lily and Ben entered their teenage years, those cruel whispers became louder, and the doubts intensified. But on a chilly Thursday, her life took an unexpected turn. She met Michael, the local photographer, who strolled in looking for coffee and left with a vision, one that recognized her true potential. Why not give modeling a shot? He encouraged, his words igniting an ember long buried beneath layers of self-doubt. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. The more she worked with Michael, the more transformative her journey felt. Not just physically, as she started losing weight and gaining confidence, but emotionally too. Her laughter returned, bubbling up like the bread rising in her oven. Still, tension brewed at home. Her husband, Mark, felt the change, questioned it, worried. "What is happening to us, Jess?" he asked, his voice tight. They argued, revealing the cracks in their marriage. She wanted to chase her dreams while he worried it would tear their family apart. Then came the day of the regional modeling event. Jessica wore a dress that hugged her newly confident figure, her heart racing. But after showcasing her talent, the judges' faces remained blank. The disappointment crashed down, each second of waiting a heavy blow. Maybe I'm just a baker, not a model. The thought stung deeply, echoing the taunts from her past. Tears pooled in her eyes, blurring her world into shapes of browns and whites. Left alone in the baking world she had tried so hard to rise from, yet, amidst this heartbreak, a flicker of realization broke through. "Mom, you're amazing!" Lily and Ben reminded her, their voices filled with pure optimism. Their belief reignited her spirit, shimmering brighter than before. The voices around her started fading as she took a breath deep enough to muster courage. But the peace was short-lived. Mark confronted her, frustration spilling forth. "It's either me or this dream you have." The ultimatum rang in her ears, a deafening silence wrapping around them. Jessica stood at the kitchen counter, her heart pounding like a drum, torn between dreams and a family she cherished. What would she sacrifice? Could she dare to hope again? The weight of decision loomed heavy. What was she willing to risk to be more than just the baker? Jessica stood frozen at the counter, the flour-covered surface contrasting sharply with the whirlwind in her mind. Mark's words echoed in her ears, each syllable a sharpened knife, cutting into her resolve. The bakery, her safe haven, felt suffocating now. Her heart raced as Lily and Ben chatted animatedly in the living room, unaware of the storm brewing in their home. "Mom, it's not just about you, it's about all of us." Mark's voice softened for a moment, revealing the vulnerability beneath his frustration. Jessica could feel the weight of his fear, a reflection of her own. But could they both find a path that didn't feel like a sacrifice? As she kneaded the dough again, each push echoed her inner struggle. With every fold, she considered her next move. Should she abandon her dream? Or ignite the fire that had been kindled within her? The scent of cinnamon and sugar filled the air as if promising the sweetness of newfound courage. That night, after the kids were asleep, Jessica found Mark in their dimly lit living room, staring out the window. "Can't we talk?" she asked gently, hoping to bridge the chasm that had formed between them. His face turned, revealing a mix of concern and fatigue. "I just don't understand." His voice was heavy, laced with hurt. "You're changing, Jess. I'm scared of losing you." "I'm right here," she replied softly, feeling the weight of his fear in her heart. "I have always been here, and I always will be. But you have to understand how important this is for me. It's not just about modeling. It's about proving to myself that I'm more than what others think what I thought." Mark looked away, struggling with his own fears. "I guess I thought we'd both grow old here, in our little bakery, just the way we planned together. But what if I want more?" The question hung in the air, a challenge, a plea. Couldn't we find a way to support each other as dreams? "I want our kids to see that it's never too late to chase what truly makes you happy." He rubbed his temples, the tension palpable. "I just don't know how that fits with our family. It feels risky. What if it fails? What if it doesn't?" She countered, taking a step closer. "What if this is my moment? Isn't that worth fighting for? For us, for our kids?" Silence stretched between them, thick and tangled. Mark's frown began to soften as thoughts swirled through his mind. Finally, he spoke. "Then we need to approach this together as a team." The air shifted slightly, a glimmer of hope breaking through the heaviness. Jess felt a heartbeat quicken in her chest, excitement mingling with fear. Perhaps they could do this together. The thought brightened her spirit like the first light of dawn breaking through a night clouded with uncertainty. But as they sat in that moment of tentative peace, the phone buzzed on the table, drawing their attention. It was Michael's message, a reminder about an upcoming city-wide open modeling show. The one he had encouraged her to enter. A chance to showcase everything she had worked for. The excitement surged within her, but then doubt crashed in. "What should I do?" Jessica's breath hitched as she faced Mark. "What if I fail again?" Mark's eyes searched hers, and in them, she found a flicker of something, a mix of resolution and hope. "You'll only fail if you don't try. It's your choice, but whatever you decide, I'm here." As she allocated her feelings towards the opportunity, anticipation clashed with anxiety. A deep breath steadied her nerves. Could it be the turning point she'd been yearning for? With newfound determination, she replied to Michael's message, her fingers shaking slightly. An invitation to herself to stand in front of the spotlight. But as she hit send, an unsettling thought tugged at her. And if this is the moment everything changes, what will it mean for us and our family? Jessica swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the choice hanging over her. Would one decision propel her toward dreams or lead to a breaking point? The journey had only just begun. Jessica's heart thudded in her chest as the screen flickered back to life after sending that message. There was no taking it back now. The reality of what she'd done sank in, bubbling with excitement yet laced with anxiety. She could almost hear the clock ticking, marking the seconds until everything she wished for might either bloom or wither. Mark sat across from her, still processing the gravity of her decision. "Are you sure about this?" he asked, his brows knitted with concern. "It could change everything. This could finally open the door to what I've been wanting," Jessica replied, her voice steady. "I need you to believe that too, Mark. It's not only about the stage for me, but also about showing our kids that chasing dreams is worth the fight." He nodded, but didn't say anything. His silence weighed heavy, as if he were carrying the burden of both their hopes on his shoulders. She knew they had taken a step forward by agreeing to tackle this together, but a storm of uncertainty still loomed. As days passed, the looming show became all-consuming. Jessica practiced poses and walked the small space in their bakery like it was a runway. In the back of her mind, self-doubt whispered incessantly, clawing at her resolve. What if this didn't go as planned? But every time she thought of her children watching her, of that spark of pride she hoped to ignite within them, her determination reignited. "Mom, you look so pretty!" Lily exclaimed one evening as Jessica applied makeup for practice. The innocence in her daughter's eyes filled Jessica's heart with warmth. There had been so many times she felt invisible, but not anymore. Maybe this was at the beginning of a new chapter for all of them, but then came the day of the show. The air was vibrant with anticipation. As she stood behind the curtains, listening to the thump of the bass from the music, nerves twisted in her stomach. She could feel the weight of Mark's hand on her back, a steady reassurance. "You've got this," he whispered, just loud enough for only her to hear. The warmth of his words washed over her, soothing the tempest of anxiety that threatened to overthrow her. She exhaled, reminding herself that it wasn't just about her. This was their journey as a family. The moment she stepped out onto the runway, headlights brightened her world, and a wave of sound rippled through the crowd. She took her first step forward, feeling alive under the scrutinizing eyes of the audience. With each stride, uncertainty gave way to liberation. The world around her melted, and all she felt was the rhythm of her heartbeat syncing with the music. But as she posed, something else nagged at the corners of her mind, thoughts of her family. Would they still see her as the woman who managed the bakery, or as this new version who dared to dream? The show concluded with rousing applause, a cacophony of cheers blending into a melodic symphony of validation. As she walked off the stage, she was met with Mark's bright eyes, filled with pride and love. "You were amazing, Jess!" he exclaimed, enveloping her in a hug that offered the comfort of home. But just then, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Glancing down, she saw a message from Michael. "Let's talk after the show. Opportunity awaits." The implication hung heavy in the air. What could this mean? Could this be the tipping point for the family she had fought to protect? As she stood there, heart racing and emotions spiraling, one question echoed louder than the applause. Was she ready to navigate the unknown that might come next? Jessica took a breath, bracing herself for whatever would unfold. The journey had only just begun. The backstage area buzzed with life as the adrenaline still surged through Jessica's veins. Her heart was racing, but it wasn't solely from the performance. It was the message from Michael weighing heavily in her mind. She should have felt triumphant, yet uncertainty lingered like a shadow. Mark's face was lit with excitement as he rubbed her shoulders, his smile infectious. "That was unreal. You captivated them." He stepped back, trying to comprise the scope of what she had just accomplished. But no sooner did she bask in his admiration than her phone buzzed again, jolting her back to reality. The screen lit up with another message from Michael, unread and still unprocessed. "Jess? You okay?" Mark asked, noticing the flicker of apprehension in her eyes. "You seem distant." I got a message from Michael," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "He wants to talk about the future." The words tasted like fuel on the fire of her anxiety. What future? The one she just stepped boldly into, or the one that still felt like a fragile dream? "Maybe it's about your next steps," Mark said, trying to remain optimistic. "You've shown everyone what you can do. This could be something amazing." She took a deep breath, forcing a smile. "Yeah, you're right. I'll just call him." But as Jessica thumbed the screen, hesitations tightened her chest. What if this was a call to something wild and unpredictable? With trembling fingers, she hit the call button, the tone ringing like a countdown to something she couldn't control. Michael picked up on the third ring. "Jessica, you were incredible tonight. I mean, I always knew there was something special about you, but tonight? Wow." His enthusiasm was palpable, even through the phone. "Thank you, Michael," she replied, her voice wavering slightly. "What did you want to discuss?" "I want to talk about representation. There's a big opportunity coming up, a modeling campaign that could be perfect for you. Bigger than anything you could imagine. But it would mean relocating to New York for a while. We'd need to hit the ground running." The words hit Jessica like a tidal wave. New York. Shiny skyscrapers and bright lights would pull her away from the bakery, away from her life. An exciting prospect, sure, but also terrifying. What about Mark and the kids? Could she even think of committing to such a drastic shift? "What do you think?" Michael's voice was hopeful, almost a dare. Jessica's mind whirled. For so long, she had pushed against the walls of her own existence, but now the weight of family responsibilities loomed large. A part of her wanted to leap forward into the unknown, but another deeper part gripped tightly to the comfort of routine. "I need some time to think about it," she finally said, feeling the sting of regret in her voice. "Of course. Just know that this could be your chance to show what you're made of, Jess. Let us touch base soon, okay?" After hanging up, Jessica stood immobilized, a million thoughts colliding in her heart. Mark met her gaze, worry creasing his brow. "What did he say?" "It's an opportunity. But it's complicated," she murmured, the uncertainty flooding back. He took her hands, grounding her before the storm of decisions. "Whatever you choose, I'm with you. But you'll have to think about what makes you happy for real. You can't lose yourself in all of this." Jessica's heart swelled. She realized that while this was about her journey, it was also about navigating the aspirations of the family they had built together. The room felt heavier with her next thought. "Mark, what if we have to leave everything behind?" He searched her eyes. "We'll figure it out. Together." But as she stared at the possibilities looming ahead, a profound question lingered in the silence. Were they prepared for the ripple effects that this decision could send across their lives? As they stood on the precipice of change, the weight of her dreams felt both exhilarating and daunting. Would she find the courage within to embrace the storm? Jessica's resolve began to waver as she imagined the crossroads ahead. But there was no backing down now. The next chapter was just beginning, and she could almost feel the winds of change brushing against her skin. Would it shatter their world or create something beautiful? Only time would tell. Jessica stood frozen in the backstage room, her phone still clutched tightly in her hand. Mark's presence was a comforting anchor, but the whirlpool of thoughts inside her head threatened to pull her under. She wanted to embrace the excitement Michael had stirred in her, a chance to break barriers and be seen. Yet doubt lingered, creeping into her mind like an unwelcome guest. Taking a deep breath, she turned her focus back to Mark. "I guess I should sleep on it. Process everything that's happening." "Definitely," he nodded, but his eyes shimmered with concern. "Just remember, whatever you decide, don't just think about your career. Think about you. What do you want?" Tears prickled the corners of her eyes. Thoughts of her kids, her job at the bakery, and all the ordinary moments flashed before her. Simple family dinners, tiny hands in flour, her laughter echoing amid the buzzing hum of the oven. But then, images of sky-high buildings, fashion runways, and being on magazine covers danced enticingly across her vision. As the evening wound down, the backstage buzz morphed into mere whispers, the musicians packing away instruments, the crew winding up cables. A final round of applause echoing outside reminded her of the energy she had just shared with the audience. Her heart stirred with ambition once more, but the uncertainty still felt heavy. "Hey, let us grab a drink. Clear our heads before we dive back into reality?" Mark suggested, his smile brightening the dimly lit space. "I don't think I can even think about anything right now," Jessica replied, her voice shaking. "Everything feels too much. Just one drink. We'll toast to you and the amazing night. It'll help. I promise," he urged, beckoning her with an inviting smile. With a reluctant nod, she agreed. They walked out into the cool night air, the city alive with energy. As they settled into a quiet bar just a few blocks away, the comforting atmosphere began to wash over Jessica. Moments passed between them, laughter flowing more freely as they toasted to her performance, the dim lights flickering just in time with her heart. "Can you believe that was you up there?" Mark marveled, a hint of pride in his voice mixed with the soft clink of glasses. "You were born for this, Jess. You seriously lit it up." Jessica bit her lip, her chest warming at his words, but then she looked away, her heart weighed down. "But what if I sacrifice everything? The bakery, the kids, everything we built?" "They won't ever be everything if you don't pursue what makes you whole," Mark replied. "You're not leaving them behind. This could open doors not just for you, but for all of us." As if a light had flickered on, Jessica began to see more clearly. She could be the mother who chases her dreams. But how? Could she possibly juggle everything? Okay, maybe I'm thinking too much. She laughed nervously, but a piece of her was dawning with clarity. It's all just very overwhelming. Mark reached across the table, squeezing her hand. Just take it one step at a time. Trust yourself. And she wanted to. But self-doubt still nestled in her gut, whispering of the challenges ahead. Could she risk the comfort of her life and perhaps hurt those she loved in the process? Let me think it all through tonight, she said at last, pulling back her hand. I'll wake up and see how I feel about the opportunity. Sounds good. I'll be here for the wake-up call, he responded, a grin lighting up his face once more. Later, lying in bed, Jessica could hardly close her eyes. The night was restless, filled with visions of New York and echoes of laughter from her children. She craved that rush from the stage, the feeling of her heart dancing to the beat of applause. But she also feared losing herself. As dawn broke through her window, she felt the flicker of hope igniting anew within her. Would the sunrise bring clarity, or would it deepen her confusion? For now, all she could do was wait and listen to the whispers of her heart, ready to make her choice. Would she step into the limelight and leave her world behind, or would she choose the life she had built with love? The next moment was pressing in, and she could feel the weight of what was to come. Would she flow with fate, or would she stand still? Jessica awoke to a soft beam of sunlight filtering through her curtains, illuminating the mess of thoughts tangled in her mind. The city outside buzzed with life, a stark contrast to the swirling confusion she felt within. She sat up in bed, heart racing, as memories from last night replayed vividly. The cheers of the audience echoed in her ears, laced with Mark's encouraging words. You were born for this. But along with the thrill came a familiar weight in her chest. She couldn't shake the image of her kids smiling at her while they baked together on Saturday mornings. Those tiny flour-dusted hands kneading dough mirrored the life she had built, a life rich in love and laughter. Would stepping into the spotlight mean stepping away from them? She rose and made her way to the kitchen, her familiar sanctuary. The scent of coffee brewing felt like a warm embrace. As she poured herself a cup, thoughts whirred around like a tornado. Could she really go to New York? A place she'd only seen in magazines? A part of her longed for the adventure, while another desperately clung to the routine she knew so well. The bakery was where her heart thrived, serving warm pastries, chatting with neighborhood kids, hearing the joy in the familiar voices. But the idea of modeling? Of being recognized for her art, her passion? It was intoxicating. As she sipped her coffee, she glanced at her phone. Messages from Mark illuminated the screen. Thinking of you. How are you feeling about everything? His words felt like a lifeline. With a deep breath, she typed back, I'm still figuring it out. A little scared, but also excited. Her phone buzzed almost immediately. Good. Scared is part of growth. Just remember, you make the choice that's right for you. Jessica smiled faintly, sensing the weight of support from him, but self-doubt reared its head once more. Did she change her entire life for a what-if? In that moment, her daughter, Mia, bounded into the kitchen, hair messy and eyes still sleepy. Mommy, can we bake cookies today? Her heart swelled at Mia's innocent excitement, but inside, a war raged on. Could she continue to juggle her dreams with motherhood? Of course. How about chocolate chip? Jessica replied, kneeling down to meet her daughter's sparkling gaze. Mia nodded enthusiastically, and a gentle warmth spread through Jessica. Baking together was their sacred time, a dance of mixing sugar, giggles, and love. She pulled her daughter into a hug, letting the familiar joy soothe her tensions. The morning passed in a delightful flurry of flour and laughter. The kitchen filled with the aroma of baking cookies, and the warmth of her daughter's laughter enveloped Jessica like a warming blanket. But as the sweet treats cooled on the counter, the reality of potential decisions crystallized in her mind. Once the cookies were set, Jessica perched on a stool, contemplating the future. She had the chance to explore a side of herself she'd kept hidden for too long, yet there was a real possibility she'd miss something irreplaceable at home. The world pulled at her from one end, while the life she cherished anchored her at the other. Mom, you okay? Mia's small voice broke into her thoughts, concern flashing in her wide eyes. Jessica forced a smile, but her heart was heavy. "Yeah, sweet pea. Just thinking." As they sat together in the sun-drenched kitchen, laughter flowing between cookie bites, the decision loomed like a flickering candle in the dark. A clash of hope and fear wrestled within her, each whispering for her attention. What would her future hold if she took that leap into the unknown? Would she find herself or lose a part of who she truly was? It was a choice that could change everything, and for the first time, Jessica felt the push to confront it head-on. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, pulling her from her thoughts. It was an invitation for an audition, one she'd have to respond to quickly. Would she say yes? Would she dare to jump into the cool, uncharted waters ahead? Or would she choose the warmth of cookies and laughter? With her heart racing, Jessica stared at the screen, knowing it could be the defining moment she had been waiting for. Jessica's heart pounded as she stared at the text on her phone. The offer didn't just invite her, it beckoned her to a future that seemed so bright, yet terrifyingly uncertain. Her breaths quickened. Each pulse of doubt rushed over her, mingling with an overwhelming surge of excitement. "Mommy, the cookies are ready," Mia chirped, swinging a spatula with flour-dusted hands, her little face aglow with the pride of their morning work. Jessica forced herself to smile, her gaze lingering on her daughter's joy. It was moments like this, the simple, unfiltered happiness of baking with Mia, that anchored her soul. "Let us taste them together," Mia squealed, racing to grab a plate. Her laughter echoed through the kitchen, mixing with the faint sounds of the city outside. Each giggle felt like a reminder of the life she had built, a life filled with love and unwavering routine. But as she tasted the warm cookie, gooey chocolate melting against her tongue, the quick shift in her heart reminded her of the other life calling her name. The idea of the audition loomed in her mind like a flickering streetlight, offering light but also casting shadows. She knew accepting meant stepping into a world where she'd be judged and critiqued. Would the thrill of modeling outweigh the comfort of her kitchen and the simple joys of motherhood? Mia's joyful chatter swirled around her, and Jessica nodded along, attempting to catch every word with renewed enthusiasm. "You're such a great helper, Mia," she encouraged, turning her face away for a moment, feeling the familiar weight of tears threatening to spill. In that moment, she realized the truth was not about the choice between two lives. It was about merging them somehow, bringing a piece of herself into the world of modeling while keeping her roots dug deep in the warmth of home. As she wiped her eyes subtly, Mia tugged at her sleeve, insisting on another cookie. Jessica admired her daughter's carefree spirit. Wouldn't it be wonderful to show Mia that you could chase dreams while still holding tight to what you cherish? She took a deep breath, straightening her back with a new resolve. Maybe the audition was just a leap into the unknown. Maybe it was a chance for her to redefine what home meant. Perhaps stepping onto that runway wouldn't mean leaving her family behind, but rather inviting them to walk with her in a new way. "Let us take a picture," Jessica announced suddenly, pulling out her phone. "One for the memories." Mia's eyes widened with excitement as she bounced on her toes, flour still dusting her hair. The two stood together in front of the counter, cookies scattered around, the sun streaming in through the window. Jessica snapped the photo, freezing the moment forever, a snapshot of joy and possibilities. As she reviewed the image, she felt a tiny flame ignite within her. Can you blend dreams and realities? She wanted to believe she could. But still, the question lingered, was she ready to take that first step? Was this the moment she needed to embrace the fear and let hope drive her forward? Just then, her phone buzzed again, a notification lighting up the screen with Mark's name. "Whatever you decide, I'm here. You've got this, Jess." His words felt like a warm hug, nudging her closer to a decision. With her gaze resting on the intense glow of the screen, a flurry of emotions bubbled within her: hope, excitement, fear, and a tinge of sadness. As she contemplated the looming audition, the sweet laughter of her daughter filled the air, a symphony of comfort that brought both joy and conflict. That's when the doorbell rang, slicing through the moment with an unexpected urgency. Who could it be? The shadow of uncertainty settled around her again, but this time, it felt different. It felt like the beginning of something transformative. Jessica swallowed hard, bracing herself as she approached the door, her heart fluttering with curiosity and apprehension. She took a deep breath and reached for the handle, ready to face whatever awaited her beyond that threshold. Jessica opened the door, her heart racing as anticipation filled the air. Standing before her was a woman she barely recognized. It was her old friend Clara, from college days. Clara had once been the life of every party, always adorned in the latest fashion, with a contagious energy that drew everyone in. Jessica had admired her from afar, often feeling overshadowed by her confidence. "Clara!" she exclaimed, stepping back, surprised. "What a welcome surprise! This is so unexpected." Clara smiled widely, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I was in the area and thought I'd swing by. I've missed you, Jess." The flurry of emotions continued swirling inside Jessica as she ushered her friend inside. She wanted to embrace her old friend's vibrance, but felt vulnerable for some reason. It seemed as though Clara's radiant presence amplified the doubts that lingered in her heart. "I saw your post about the audition," Clara said, settling into one of the kitchen chairs. "Are you really thinking of going for it?" Jessica nodded but hesitated. I'm considering it. But it's complicated." Clara leaned forward, resting her chin on her hands. "Tell me everything. You know I'm here for you." The kitchen felt warmer as the two women shared their lives' ups and downs, laughing about old memories while grappling with adult realities. Jessica confided in Clara about Mia and her fears of pursuing modeling while juggling motherhood. "Jess," Clara said softly, "you don't have to choose one over the other. I spent years trying to fit into someone else's definition of success. It took me a long time to realize that the best version of myself included both parts of my life." Jessica felt a spark of hope ignite. "But what if I fail? What if stepping out is just a big mistake?" Clara shook her head, brushing away Jessica's worries. "Failure is part of every journey. Don't let fear dictate your path. Think about how incredible it would be to show Mia that dreams don't have a limit." Her words resonated deeply, hitting a chord that Jessica hadn't yet acknowledged. The reality of it struck her. Mia didn't have to grow up in the shadow of her mother's unpursued dreams. Jessica could inspire her daughter by chasing her own. Just then, Mia's giggles broke the conversation, bringing them both back to the warm, flower-scented kitchen. She raced into the living room, holding her cookie creation like a trophy. "Look what I made! Look!" Jessica's heart swelled with pride. "It looks amazing, sweetheart." Clara beamed at the sight, and Jessica felt a shift within her, a quiet determination taking hold. What if she made this dream a shared experience, something that enveloped Mia too? What if she could teach her daughter the importance of courage and authenticity? "Let us take a picture together," Clara said, echoing Jessica's earlier thought. "You and Mia with those cookies." A memory of this moment. They all gathered near the same window where Jessica had taken the picture earlier. Clara draped an arm around Jessica, and Jessica pulled Mia close. As the camera clicked, Jessica's cheeks warmed from the smiles surrounding her. She looked at the photo after it was taken, and for the first time, it felt different, not just a snapshot but a promise. When the initial excitement settled, her mind started buzzing again. The audition. Clara's visit. The possibility of reimagining her life. What if it was all interconnected? "Mia, sweetheart, are you ready to have some fun?" Jessica asked, her voice steady with newfound conviction. "Mama, always." Mia grinned, throwing her flower-dusted hands in the air, her joy infectious. Jessica met Clara's gaze, the unspoken understanding between them bolstering her spirit. But just as her resolve solidified, a ball of anxiety gripped her. What were the risks? Was she truly ready to transform her life, chasing dreams that had long been hidden in shadows? As Clara chatted with Mia, Jessica caught sight of her phone again, the audition details glowing brightly on the screen, like a beacon that would either guide her to success or lead her astray. What was she willing to risk to create a new reality for herself and Mia? Jessica couldn't shake the feeling that the door had just opened to a path with infinite possibilities. Was she brave enough to step through it? Jessica stood in the kitchen, still wrapped in the warmth of Clara's visit and Mia's laughter. The photo of them together felt like a milestone, a marker of change. But as she absorbed the joy of that moment, threads of doubt pulled at her heart. She returned her gaze to her phone, where the audition details glimmered like a challenge waiting to be accepted. "Okay, let us do something fun," she exclaimed, shaking off the worries. "What do you girls say to a little dance party?" Mia bounced on her toes, her face lighting up. "Yes. Can I pick the song?" "Absolutely," Clara encouraged, standing up and taking Mia's hands in hers. "You're the DJ today." With giggles erupting, Mia dashed to her tablet. Jessica watched them, feeling the weight of her anxieties lifting, if only a little. Clara's presence had awakened something in her, a realization of what joy could look like, a joy that wasn't just for others, but for herself too. As Mia flipped through playlists, Jessica read the audition details once more. It wasn't just about modeling, it was an opportunity to break free, to redefine what her life could be. She felt a flutter of anticipation mixed with fear. "Got it," Mia said triumphantly, hitting play. The upbeat song filled the room, its infectious rhythm drawing them into a spontaneous dance party. Jessica couldn't help but shake her head and smile as Mia danced with uncontainable energy, while Clara joined in, laughing and twirling like they were back in college. The kitchen transformed. It was no longer a space filled with uncertainty but a vibrant celebration of life. As Mia twirled and clapped, Jessica felt a fresh wave of exhilaration wash over her. Maybe this was the spark she needed, the reminder that life was about more than just fear and doubt. But as Clara caught Jessica's eye, her expression shifted. "You know, Jess, it's okay to be scared. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you human," Clara said, her voice steady amidst the upbeat track. "Just remember to hold on to the vision of who you want to be." Jessica's heart raced, and she nodded slowly. Clara had a way of piercing through the facade. "You're right," she admitted. "It's just scary." "Mama, come dance!" Mia yelled, interrupting the moment. Jessica moved to join her, allowing the beat to pull her deeper into the joy surrounding her. They danced, spinning and laughing, but in the back of her mind, the audition loomed. It was time to make a choice. She could keep treading the safe path or begin to carve a new one, an opportunity to step into a world that could embrace both her dreams and her role as a mother. As the song reached its climax, Jessica felt a rush of clarity. She wanted to face her fears, to show Mia that pursuing passion was just as important as nurturing love. With every step, she felt like she was stepping closer to something wonderful. When the song ended, breathless, they collapsed on the couch, laughter echoing in the air. Mia, wide-eyed and filled with excitement, beamed up at her mother. "Mama, can we do that again?" Jessica looked at Clara, who nodded in support. The warmth of their bond became palpable. "Of course," Jessica replied, already feeling that familiar sparkle of hope. But beneath the joy, a question coiled tightly in her chest. What if she put herself out there, and it didn't work? What if, in chasing her dreams, she lost sight of her true self or let Mia down? "Jess, let us talk about the audition," Clara said, sensing her friend's shifting energy. "What's really holding you back?" Jessica took a deep breath, the joy of the dance fading just a tad as the gravity of her thoughts crept back in. "I guess I'm afraid I'm not enough." Not enough for me, for Mia, for anyone. Just then, the phone buzzed with a notification. Jessica glanced at it, her heart leaping. It was from the audition committee. "Your application has been received. We will contact you soon." Suddenly, everything felt real. The possibility whether it would end in triumph or failure had become tangible. "Maybe you are enough, and this is your moment," Clara said softly, her eyes steady. Jessica's breath hitched. Could this truly be her moment, a chance to redefine everything? As her heart raced again, a mix of fear and exhilaration, she looked down at Mia, who was busy creating abstract art on a napkin. This was it. Whatever the outcome, Jessica would have to decide if she was ready to chase a dream that could inspire not just her, but Mia too. "What do I do next?" she whispered, as uncertainty loomed, waiting to see if she had the courage to leap. And just like that, the door to her heart opened wider, revealing a torrent of unknown possibilities. Would she now step forward or retreat back into a life of shadows? Clara's voice echoed in her thoughts, urging her to embrace whatever lay ahead. The sun streamed through the window, promising a new beginning. Jessica stood before her kitchen counter, the scent of pastry still lingering in the air like unfinished business. She could hear Mia's playful giggles from the living room, the sound a warm reminder of what truly mattered. She needed to embrace the moment. This was not just about modeling. It was about showing her children a life brimming with dreams and possibilities. "Okay, Jess. Time to take charge," she whispered to herself, the determination sparking within her like a flame ignited. With her heart pounding, she picked up her phone, ready to call Michael. This is it, she thought, reminding herself that pursuing her dreams was not a betrayal but a gift she could share with Mia. She pressed the call button, feeling the weight of her decision lifting slightly as it rang. "Jessica. I'm so glad you called." Michael's voice burst through the line, full of enthusiasm and energy. "Are you ready to talk about the audition?" "I think I am," she replied, her voice wavering slightly but filled with resolve. "I want to do it, but I'm scared." "Scared is normal. But you know, every great opportunity comes with a leap of faith. Each step forward is a part of your journey, and you can bring your family along with you," he reassured. His confidence radiated through the phone, infusing her with encouragement. Jessica glanced toward the living room, where Mia was drawing with Clara. In that moment, her fears began to fade, replaced by the vision of what could be a merge of her two worlds that felt more like home than the kitchen ever could. "I'm ready to take that leap," she declared, her heart beating louder than the self-doubt. "Fantastic! New York awaits, and I promise you'll shine. Get ready to embrace this incredible chapter." Michael's excitement was contagious, lifting her spirit even higher as they discussed the details. After the call, Jessica felt lighter, almost buoyant. It was time to take control of her life and show Mia that dreams were worth chasing. She walked into the living room, where laughter filled the space like sunshine. "Hey, sweet pea," she called to Mia, who looked up with wide, trusting eyes. "Yeah, Mama?" Jessica knelt beside her and took her daughter's hands. "I need to tell you something important." Mia's brow furrowed slightly, tracing the lines of seriousness in her mother's face. "Are you okay?" "I'm more than okay, honey. I've decided to go for that audition. I'm going to pursue modeling." Jessica's heart raced at the words. It was a step toward a dream, but also a promise for a life filled with passion. Mia beamed, her eyes sparkling with innocence and pride. "You're going to be a star, Mom!" she exclaimed, throwing her arms around Jessica. In that hug, Jessica felt a powerful surge of love and affirmation that she was doing this not just for herself, but for their future. "Thanks, baby. But you know, I want you to chase your dreams too, right? Whatever they are." Mia nodded, excitement lighting up her face. "I will, Mama. Can we bake cupcakes and make them pretty?" "Of course. Let us show the world what we can create," Jessica laughed, feeling the energy shift in the room. As they moved to the kitchen, Clara joined them, laughter blossoming into a comfortable atmosphere, a sisterhood strengthened over the shared excitement of this new beginning. "I can't wait to see you on the runway, Jess." "You're already a star," Clara chimed in, the support infectious. The rest of the day passed in a flurry of flour, sugar, and joy, as Mia led the way in creating their cupcakes. Jessica immersed herself in the sweet chaos, every laugh, every sprinkle of joy, fueling her resolve. She had made her choice, and it felt right. Later that evening, as they relaxed on the couch, the aroma of baked goodies still in the air, Jessica looked over at Mark, who had been watching their joyful antics with a smile. She squeezed his hand and, with newfound confidence, proposed, "Let us figure this out together. I may be chasing a dream, but I still want us to be a family at the core." Mark's expression softened. I'd never want to hold you back, Jess. I'm proud of you for chasing your dreams. Tears of joy welled in her eyes, and she hugged him tightly. Thank you for believing in me. As she settled back, laughter echoed around her kids, her husband, Clara, they were all part of her journey. They were the pillars supporting her dreams. She realized she didn't need to choose between a life of love and one of aspiration. They were intertwined, building something beautiful. And so, with her heart full, she embraced the adventure awaiting her in New York, knowing it would never overshadow the treasures found in her home. Jessica had taken the leap, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, and in her family's support, she found the courage to shine. The phone buzzed with a new notification, a message from Michael. Tomorrow's the day. Get your runway walk ready. Jessica lifted her chin, a radiant smile spreading across her face. Sometimes, the biggest leaps led to the most beautiful transformations, and she was ready to soar, with her family by her side. This is the moment for you to join us. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that change lives. Hit the like button now to fuel our reach. We want to hear your reactions, so leave a comment sharing your feelings about this incredible transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this heartwarming journey. Only true fans understand the power of support. Let's make this a community of dreamers.